Look, before I even dive into this video, I'm about 95% sure you all know what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to say it anyway because it needs to be said. This one key feature either needs to be brought back or something equivalent needs to be created to replace this feature in the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Are you curious what I'm talking about? Sweet. Let's dive into things. Hey, what's up? It's Derek with Zelda Theory, bringing you brand new Zelda content every single week. And on this channel, sometimes I do countdown videos, other times I create videos specifically about the upcoming sequel to Breath of the Wild. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the bell for all things Zelda. I'd be super honored to have you here. Also, at the end of this video, be sure to check out the links in the description below for access to other Zelda content that I've created up to this point. So one of the most centralized pieces of Breath of the Wild, in my personal opinion, was the Divine Beast. Hands down, man. I mean, they literally had everything to do with the plot of the game. From being the only things that could help aid in the fight against the Calamity Ganon, to being the sole source of the quote-unquote dungeons in the game. I 100% believe that Nintendo needs to bring the Divine Beast back. Now, if they decide not to bring them back themselves, then something very similar to replace them. The Divine Beasts of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild play such a central role within the game's story that there could be some kind of narrative element that ends up being just as important in the upcoming sequel. Now, for the original title, the beasts actually served a number of purposes. They help provide crucial details regarding the game's backstory, as well as serving as representations of the varying personalities of the four champions of the game: Mipha of the Zora, Daruk of the Gorons, Urbosa of the Gerudo, and Rivali of the Rito. However, just like the Guardians of Breath of the Wild, they also need a replacement for the sequel. Now, as crucial to Breath of the Wild's story as the beasts are, fully completing the story of Breath of the Wild shows that they ultimately served their purpose in a way and can no longer be used or explored afterward. Now, obviously, we're going to exclude the DLC mode here that allows players to once again face off against the dungeon bosses within the beast. Therefore, this being said, unless Nintendo decides to narratively reset and update them for players to explore all over again in the sequel, Breath of the Wild 2 should have some sort of equivalent to the Divine Beast, or maybe something different altogether. One of the first things that Nintendo did confirm after revealing Breath of the Wild 2 at E3 2019, such a long time ago, was that it would be building upon the map of the original Breath of the Wild. Now, while the company will likely shift Breath of the Wild's map in some major ways, one way it could go would be to implement all new major dungeons to be explored. In Breath of the Wild, objects pop out of the ground and materialize constantly, so adding some new dungeons wouldn't be a narrative issue in my opinion. However, balancing these dungeons with a litany of shrines that are bound to return could potentially prove to be a challenge. Shrines are another part of Breath of the Wild that need to be refreshed if they are to return for the sequel. There are a total of 120 whomping shrines in Breath of the Wild. The DLC of the game actually adds 16 more, so it would be weird, but not totally out of the question, if all these mini monoliths just suddenly disappeared. One way Nintendo could revitalize the shrine system is if it consolidated the number of them to a smaller amount in order to concentrate on bigger, more elaborate shrines. This would not only please the Zelda dungeon loyalist like yours truly, but would also help replace the Divine Beast. The area in which the Divine Beast can be found in Breath of the Wild are also suitable for these larger scale shrines, so it's not like Nintendo has to create all new pieces of land just to accommodate them. Additionally, looking at Zora's domain, one can see the potential for the return of a major Legend of Zelda trend, the Water Temple. Among the many staple Legend of Zelda items that need to make a comeback, underwater tools that allow for a sub-aquacious exploration would also pave the way for a bigger water-based dungeon/shrine. In my personal opinion, these are just some of the many ways Nintendo could replace the Divine Beast for Breath of the Wild 2. Now, to see more Zelda content, click on either of the videos coming up on the screen now, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Continue to be the light in someone's life, and remember, it is dangerous to go alone. I hope to talk to all of you very soon.